Man, it's been a busy week, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, a lot to do, but a lot of blessings as well too. I'm just getting dressed. I gotta go make a run, pick up some papers. Then I gotta get some food. Then I gotta mellow out, finish work, get on my bike. It's just a lot of stuff to do, but good day nonetheless. So yeah, let me get out the door. I'm gonna catch y'all in the car. Peace. Yo, one thing they don't tell you about Atlanta if you're thinking about moving here is that the pollen, like they tell you about the pollen, but they don't tell you how crazy the pollen gets. And especially with global warming, like if you have a dark colored car, you're just gonna walk out and it's gonna be caked up on your car. And there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, but you should know that if you're thinking about moving to the city and nobody's told you about the pollen, like just consider that. But that aside, it's been a pretty cool week, man. The biggest thing is I think I hit a new professional milestone. A reporter for the Wall Street Journal named Katie Dayton reached out about a new article she was writing about true religion, which if you don't know, true religion is kind of revamped for Gen Z. It was always a big thing. Like when I was in school, everybody rocked true religions. If you had money like that, you know what I mean? Like it was just a thing. But they're finally leaning into like a hip hop community with their new campaign. And yeah, she came across my Substack in an article that I wrote on it, reached out, asked a few questions. So yeah, man, Snob Hop got mentioned in the Wall Street Journal, which was super dope. So, you know, just coming off of that, coming off of a lot of new personal and professional challenges that are creeping up, all stuff that's meant to expand you, make you better. So yeah, as I, you know, go up the highway and run these errands, I'm thinking about some of the new responsibilities that have even crept up since the last time I've kind of talked to y'all. And today, like, that's kind of what I want to rap about for all of my young folk in advertising. There's really two things, right? One is more professional, one is more personal. The professional thing relates back to a Japanese concept known as Ikigai. They put out a lot of material about that online that you can read about, but it's an interesting concept that I think really does tie into like your career, right? More so, Ikigai talks about like your life's purpose, what people require of you, and what you like to do, and like where do all those things meet for something that you can offer. But I think that's really interesting in the context of strategy. But yeah, we'll get into that after I get off the highway. I see APD zooming up this motherfucker, so you know, gotta be safe, man. So let me put this down and then I'm gonna catch y'all after I get to my destination. Peace.
A few moments later.
And just like that, I'm back from running errands. I just got out of a meeting, sent a few emails. The kid is in good shape, fantastic shape, cannot complain. So yeah, with that said, I talked about this a little bit in the car, if that part even made the video. But I've been thinking a lot this week about Ikigai, right? Which it's a Japanese concept, which means reason for being, depending on the definition that you look up, because we all know Google ain't, you know, no disrespect. But one kind of infographic thing I found about it says the concept of finding purpose in life. And basically Ikigai has like these 4 circles that overlap. It's kind of like a Venn diagram thing. I'll put it up in the video. But basically it asks what you love, what the world needs, what you can get paid for, and what you're good at. Now, park that concept for 1 second, right? So there's Ikigai. And then there's another thing I was thinking about last week, which is about power, right? And what your superpower is specifically. Now, you know, generally, especially in the field I'm in, you might have people who do strategy, but they might have something within that they do really well that's kind of like their superpower. So if you ask people who know me, if you ask people who work with me, who've hired me, who've had me freelance for stuff, whatever the case is, generally they refer to me or go to me for cultural strategy. Everyone who knows me knows I'm a hip hop head. been a hip hop head since I was like 13. So there's not really much you can tell me about that culture. I stay tapped in. I know what's going on. I straddle the fence between, being in the industry and not being in the industry just because of spaces that I float in. So, I typically can see trends coming a lot sooner. I typically know who's on the scene a lot faster than a lot of people. And so, yeah, a lot of people are asking me about that, or they'll ask me about streetwear and fashion because they know those are industries that I like to keep up on and just see what's going on, especially with streetwear. So, zoom out for a second, right? That would mean my power, my superpower, if you ask, is strategy. But drill in the power underneath that power is cultural strategy, is my ability to come up with these cultural insights and trends about stuff that's going on. So how does this relate to the music thing that I was talking about? Well, I was looking at some of my favorite producers and how they made some of their biggest records, right? And their superpower is that they're able to make a smash hit. But the interesting thing is, if you look at the power underneath that power, it may be that they're able to get everyone on the same page. That is their actual superpower. They're able to get swaths of people humming the same tune, doing the same thing at the same time, working towards the same goal. Which, if you've worked in an organization long enough, you know how hard that is. So while this person's superpower may be that they have an incredible ear for music, they can program drums really well. They can literally just listen and tell you what a hit record is. Their taste level is that high. Their actual factual superpower may be their ability to sell people on something, or to get people to align to a belief in an idea and to march forward towards that on one accord, right? So as that relates to advertising, as that relates to anyone who's watching this video, who's early in their career, and some of the things that I was thinking about when I was early in my career that I just couldn't quite figure out yet. I think an interesting thing to do is to look at Ikigai, right? Start with what you love. So for some of you watching this video, maybe creative marketing is what you love, or maybe the idea, this belief that you have that you can, put a wacky campaign into the world, have people doing an experiential activation, something crazy connected to a brand that you always grew up loving. That is something you love or would love to do. Well, cool. What does the world need? I think in a nutshell, the world needs your voice, right? It needs all of our voices, all of our unique perspectives chiming in and helping to make this thing what it is today, right? You have something in this world to give. You have a perspective that I don't have. I have a perspective that you don't have. And that's what the world needs from us, right? Inherently. So you have this thing you love, right? This creative marketing thing. You have what the world needs, which is just your presence in general. The world needs your presence, right? You have what you're good at. So I was thinking about this, right? There's someone out there right now, like the way I love hip hop, they may love sewing the same way. Like literally, there's nothing you can tell them about sewing. They know the industry so well. They can tell you about the weight of a needle and how if you're using this weight of a needle, you'll get this kind of output on these kind of textures on this kind of fabric, right? They know it well. If you zoom out a little bit, then their superpower to a lot of people who see them on a surface level may be fashion. Oh man, this person is very fashionable. They always seem to know what's going on with the up and coming creators, the da 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 da. But the power beneath their power is their ability to sew. Now, okay, cool. So we have what you love, what the world needs, what you're good at. Now here's how you get paid from that. The interesting thing is, let's say this is you. I'm describing to a T, and you want to get into strategy. Well, you may come into the industry as a cultural strategist, right? But the thing that sets you apart from the competitors is, let's say Ralph Lauren, for example, is doing a campaign. They're trying to figure out why people aren't buying their clothes like that. Sales have declined. And everyone else thinks the consumer issue is just, oh, I mean, sales went up because of the tariffs and the blah, 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 and that's it. That may be a non-nuanced or unnuanced take. But you and your love of sewing, your ability to see beneath fashion and to really look at materials, that because you do importing from China and other places, that actually it has nothing to do with that. There's actually this particular weight of fabric that they use has actually been out of stock for a while, and they pivoted to something else for their clothes, and consumers can tell the difference. And that is the reason that they're not buying as much. Now, that is a very nuanced take that takes someone who not only is tapped into fashion, but who has a love of fabrics, right? Your superpower to be able to identify. That is how you get paid, because people pay for that kind of work, whether you're getting a consulting gig, whether you're part of an agency or an agency team, whether you're freelancing, right? Those type of nuanced takes are how you get paid. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because if you're early in your career, again, something that I try to ask myself, but I didn't quite nail down that I think you should know is try to identify specifically what you're good at, right? What you love is what you love. Amazing. But also think about what you're good at. Think about what the people around you have noticed that you're good at. And if you don't know, literally ask around. I used to see videos like this and think that was like super cheesy, like, man, what am I good at? And asking people and shit. But no, really, get a feel for that, because you may have a hidden talent or something connected to the power that you know of. You may have a power underneath that you're not really picking up on, but people have picked up on it who are around you. And that is the thing that the world might require from you on top of your presence. And if you combine those three things, that's how you get to the fourth thing. That's how you get paid. So this week, if nothing else, I would say think about that. Whatever you think your superpower is, drill in a step further. Again, for me, my superpower, even if you ask people who don't work with me in marketing, who know me from a totally different walk of life, for them, they look at me and they're like, yo, you know how to like strategically put things together. You know how to do things with content or X, Y, and Z. But when you drill deeper than that, the power beneath that is always being able to kind of have foresight and to be able to see like, okay, this is where this is going. Okay, I think this is what's happening next. Okay, and all of that trend forecasting is based on years and years of being enveloped in this culture that I call hip hop. For you, it may be something different. And then finally, the last note, as far as what you can get paid for, what you're good at, Ikigai in general, power in general. Something I always learned from the older generation that I think we should all just keep in mind with how the world is going. When you look at the ad industry right now is very much like the music industry. The music industry, when Napster came in, we talked about this before, it decimated the industry. A lot of record labels folded. You have three holding companies, three or four, and a couple of subsidiaries under that, and then you have the indies. This is literally advertising right now in a nutshell. Agencies folding. The other agencies go under holding companies. Now you only have three or four holding companies and you have a whole bunch of indies out here. Even like the music industry, you have agencies that you would think are indie, but they're actually major. It's the same thing. It is the exact same thing. So just like that, you also need to figure out how you're gonna make this thing work for you, right? And in a nutshell, again, the one thing I learned from the prior generation is just to keep a bankroll if you can. And that requires tapping into multiple things that you love. I personally think it's good to be a multi-hyphenate. So your goal may be advertising, but pick up some graphic design work if you can. If you're handy with a camera, shoot some weddings. If you're a gamer and you can get a base level setup, get into streaming, start a YouTube. You keep it going. There's nothing wrong with having multiple things going on. And I think we have to be somewhat realistic about like where the industry is, especially again, Napster did it to the music industry. AI did it to the advertising industry on top of shrinking budgets, a whole bunch of other stuff. I think it's smart to just look at what's going on. And I think it's smart to look at everything that you know how to do and just consider how you can get some motion going for yourself. And then once you get to the point where, you can actually keep the main thing, if for you the main thing is marketing or advertising or a career in this thing, then keep the main thing. But I talk to a lot of talent. a lot of talented individuals who are trying to get into the industry having a hard time. And I don't know when that door will open for you. Only God knows, you know. We got to keep the OG on the desk with the rest of the madness right here. But yeah, I don't know when those doors are open for you, but I do know, and I know this to be a fact, that if you lean into your other gifts and you just keep pushing, something good is going to happen. And a lot of times it's something good that you don't expect, you couldn't have planned for. A lot of this thing we can't plan for. But with that said, yeah, just ask yourself, what do you love? What does the world want from you? What are you good at? And finally, what you can get paid for. If you can figure out those first three things, that fourth one, what you can get paid for, is going to come easy. And if you know what your superpower is, or you know what a superpower you have is, drill in a bit deeper and see what the power is beneath that power. Because I guarantee you, you'll find something interesting. You'll look at yourself from an angle that you didn't really think of before, if that makes sense. I see it all the time, at least with creatives and music. Again, with production, knowing that it's really really some of the best producers are great salespeople, right? Really, some of the best rappers ever are just really charismatic. It doesn't matter what they say. Sometimes they just had a great voice. Their superpower was a great voice. The lyrics were but their voice sounded amazing. Some of them have an ear for amazing beats. The lyrics are B plus at best, but their beats are amazing. And again, that comes down to understanding the power beneath your power. So take some time this week, understand that, and cultivate those once you find them. And then above all else, keep some motion, find some motion, keep the main thing, but get some money for sure. So that's my TED Talk. I'm finna go back, answer a few more of these emails, push forward some projects. But I trust that this series is helping y'all out. I would have loved to have something like this when I was like 25, but I digress. If you see this, you made it this far, tap in and let me know. Let me know if there's anything else you got questions about, but I'm gonna keep it moving, man. So I hope y'all do the same. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.